Hey guys, Jacqueline Fernandez here at the Alert Center. Thank you so much for joining us for this breaking news today. Just into our newsroom, an alert from Governor Jim Pillen today saying that the state of Nebraska did publish the contract with ICE to use the work ethic camp as an ICE detention facility. So this is something that we've been discussing in detail on First Alert 6, both on air and online, since we first got notice of the potential use for this building to be transferred into an ICE detention facility. And we also first alerted you to the lawsuit that is currently underway from the Appleseed situation. So we were talking about that, a story that clearly has a lot of controversy both here in our state and nationally. This facility would be called the Cornhusker Clink. We mentioned yesterday or a few days before that the Florida location is being referred to as Alligator Alcatraz. So there are these different names for these different ICE detention facilities around the country. So focusing on this one now, I'm going to head over to Nebraska's website. So here's the detention facility. They did post this contract, so all you have to do is click right here, and then I'm going to kind of go through this, not in its entirety. You can see there are several pages to kind of go through, in the hundreds over here on the left hand side, but not without redactions. So the areas that are blacked out are areas that we're not really sure what the answers to some of those situations are. So what we do know at this point, so we do know that the Work Ethic Camp, or WEC in McCook, will be used as a federal detention center for U.S. immigration enforcement. So that's ICE. So it's anticipated that this center will be managed by Nebraska Department of Correctional Services and will be prepared to accept detainees prior to November 1st at a base monthly payment of $2.4 million. So just kind of briefly going over things here. I'll scroll down there we go. Okay. I can scroll down here as we discuss this. So you'll recall that August 19 press conference where Governor Pillen announced the state's intent to do this. And let's see, that included conversation with the Work Ethic Camp to open within 45 to 60 days, excuse me. So during this time frame, they've been making modifications at the facility to accommodate the arrival of their initial detainees. And then last week, important note, all remaining inmates were transferred to other facilities. Scroll down here again. We're also told that the use of this as a federal detention facility will actually result in a cost savings to Nebraskans. So the governor says the current cost to state taxpayers to operate the Work Ethic Camp is $10.2 million. And then once it's converted into this federal detention center, it'll be about $3 million, let's say, which clocks into about $138.64 per month. Okay, so here is the contract. The arrangement, he says, with ICE will net the state around $14.25 million per year, and then the current contract period expires September 29th of 2027. So about a 5-year contract there. So we'll see how that factors in. Now, this is a developing story, so stick with me here as I kind of go through this. So let me kind of go through the article here, documents, attachments. So we go through the purpose of the facility, responsibilities. Here's the operating charge right here. So you can see in the contract, this is all clearly laid out for you. So the bed day rate is about $270, let's say, per person. We can see the proposed salaries. On-call guard at a regular rate, so it's about $40 an hour is what they're making. The overtime rate, they do get paid overtime, so there you go, that's about $57 an hour with that increased overtime. And they do have a transportation mileage rate as well. So that is something to take note of there. Okay. Just kind of going through this contract here, so bear with me. Do also want to note, I saw this earlier and I'm having a difficult time finding it now, but we do know there's a section that talks about adult male and female beds. Perhaps that was up higher. And there's no mention if there will be any children detained at this facility, so that's something to take note of there. We talked about the contract time. We're talking about 60 months with a possible extension, so keep that in mind. And clearly, as we go down here, I'm just going to scroll through. So this is an example of the redacted information in this contract. So in section D, they talk about staffing here. So staffing levels shall not fall below, we're not sure. So that's one thing that we're not certain of at this time. How many guards will be there at any given time? So that's one section that's been redacted. Scrolling down here. Okay, so again, another hourly rate, that's been redacted. Receiving and discharging aliens. Emergency situations, that's completely in the black. So we're not sure at this point. In an emergency, what if something happens when people are bringing these aliens into the receiving area? If something happens, and when you're discharging them, what happens in an emergency situation? We're not sure. Scrolling down here. Medical services for the detained. Okay, so it says shall not charge any ICE aliens a fee or co-payment for medical services or treatments. This includes medications and medical equipment provided at the facility. So this appears to be in charge, in the hands of the service provider, I should say. Talking about quality health care here. Prescription medications, we kind of went through that. Okay. So just kind of going through this again, there are over 100 pages, so I'm not going to go through the entire contract, but I will say as a web extra, we are working on this story for you on our website. That's firstalert6.com. And you can go through, we will have this entire contract available for you on our website. So if you're interested, you can definitely go through and find out a little bit more about the situation here in McCook, as that work ethic camp in McCook becomes that ICE detainment facility. So what does it say? Let's see. Let me kind of scroll up here. So incident reporting, serious incidents include disturbance control, disturbances. This is with gang activities, civil disturbances. Okay, kind of goes into the details of that. And then again, this is where this part's been redacted. Communication services. Okay, administration. Adjusting the rates, modifications and disputes. Okay. We don't have access to the team mailbox. Just has a little addendum there, so you kind of get the idea. Just if you're just joining us now, you're taking a look at this contract. I'm kind of going through it briefly here on the corrections.nebraska.gov website, but we are working on a post on this on our website, so I'll head over there. That's firstalert6.com. Let me refresh this grid for you. And this is a story that we're working on, and we will have this entire contract available for you to take a look at. Just quickly want to go over what we've been discussing here. So the contract was just newly released into our newsroom today. We're kind of still going through it, so this is breaking news that we're bringing you right now. And this is the contract that the state of Nebraska is going into with ICE in McCook to transform that facility from a work ethic camp into an ICE detention facility. So that's what this is about. Clearly a lot of controversy here. This is being nicknamed the Cornhusker Clink for obvious reasons. And let's see. Just let me go through this. So the correctional services will be prepared to accept detainees prior to November 1st, and the base monthly payment for that is about $2.4 million. The contract, at one point in the contract, I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier, but this includes almost a $6 million deal in renovations, for one-time renovations for the facility, and this will be coming out of the federal government's pocketbook, it seems. So they did discuss adult male and female beds. They did not discuss if children will be detained at this facility. The current contract is 60 months with a possible extension, so it could go beyond that. I think that's about 5 years. They're paying guards about $40 an hour. We went over in the contract towards the top. It talks a little bit about how much the beds cost for each detainee, this kind of thing. And clearly in that contract, a lot of redacted information, including how many guards will be there on site at any given time. Some of the emergency procedures aren't very clear at this point either. So these are all things that we will work on bringing to you as soon as we find out those details. So clearly this is a developing story, and please stay tuned to firstalert6.com. Again, we'll have that web story, available for you to take a look at with the complete contract here very shortly. So in the interim, just want to say thank you so much for joining us here at the Alert Center. Please do stay tuned for our 3 p.m. broadcast with our Dave Zavolinsky. We'll bring you this story, including additional details coming up then. In the interim, enjoy the day, and thanks for joining us at the Alert Center.